Nick speaking, and welcome to this Necrons and More live hobby hangout. I haven't done a hobby hangout for many years, indeed, not in this new place of mine and not with OBS software, so I thought I would just try it out because today I have the place to myself. So hopefully you can see me and hear me okay. As I said, this is the first time I've done OBS in this format. With the two cameras on this one screen. So yeah, once you arrive in the chat, because to be fair, I'm not expecting too many people at this stage because this was definitely not planned, an off-the-cuff moment. So yeah, it's be interesting to see how many of you are around. I assume most of you that live in the UK are going to be at work. However, we might hit some other countries, which will be interesting. And we do. We've got Chris with a thumbs up, so I'm assuming the sound and the images are all okay. So today I am doing some hobby. I'm going to be doing my Ghost Arks. I'm building two Ghost Arks. I already have two built and they are fully magnetised into Doomsday Arks. So my plan is to magnetise one of these fully into a Doomsday Ark so that I have three, and then the other one I'm going to build as a Ghost Ark. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Hello Ant Bias Painting. Hello Nick from Sydney, Australia. Awesome. Hello there. I thought I might get some people from other countries at this time of day, so yeah, interesting. So as you can see from the box, I've been working on this already. I've done sort of a couple of days of work. I've totally built the back sections. I've got the seat here, and I've scraped down all of the mould lines from the driver. I haven't assembled him yet. I'm probably going to paint him and assemble him after painting. The same with all these strut pieces. These will go on the sides, and I'm going to paint these and glue them on afterwards. So that's how far I've done. And the next stage, according to the instruction book, is the big gun. So I need to do the big gun obviously for the magnetised one. However, I'm going to talk about the other Ghost Ark as well today, my plans for it, because as I said originally I was going to just build it as a Ghost Ark, but yeah, let's get some hobby going and we'll have a chat about that. We have 4 people watching, thank you everyone. How many magnets do you think you'll need? I haven't added it up, but a reasonable amount. So yeah, I've obviously got a painting tutorial for my, it's not a painting tutorial, a magnetising tutorial for my fully magnetised one. It's a really old video, and my plan originally was to make a new one for it, but I re-watched that magnetising tutorial, and hold on, my light's not on, there we go. I re-watched my other magnetising tutorial, and I actually thought it was pretty good, to the point I don't think I can really improve it that much. I mean, maybe the image quality I could improve, and the sound, and even the format, because I don't think it's even widescreen. But the actual content, I don't think I can really improve on that much. So yeah, I've decided not to do a magnetising tutorial video, but then I'm building these 2 Ghost Arks. So, you know, it'd be nice to have some video content from them. Now, obviously, mine are fully magnetised, with the flayers all magnetised. The whole thing turns the right way up. That's how I wanted it to be. The warriors are magnetised in there as well. Of course, there are a lot, there are lots of different ways for people to magnetise these, and one of the ways is a lot simpler than what I do, where basically you just don't have the warriors in the ark, and then you just magnetise the gun in there. And I was thinking that whilst I don't need a 4th Doomsday Ark, I might just make my 4th Ark magnetised in this way to make it into a Doomsday Ark, so that I could do a tutorial on a more simpler way to magnetise a Doomsday Ark. So that is what I'm thinking of doing. So actually, even though I'm only making a Ghost Ark, I'm going to actually do 2 guns, because I think I am going to magnetise my 4th one, even though I don't need to. I mean, there is a chance that in the future Games Workshop will let us play more than 3 Doomsday Arks, so I still will be future-proofing it as such. I mean, one reason why I don't like this, let's say, easy magnetising option is because I like the models to look like they're supposed to look, and having the gun in with where the warriors go, for me personally, I'm just not a fan of it. But you know, if it helps somebody else make their model magnetisable, then I think it's going to be worth making the video, because not everyone, you know, wants to put the time and effort into magnetising the whole thing. They might just want a quick and simple solution. So that is my plan. So that's what I'm going to actually do. We've got 12 viewers. Wow, that is awesome. Thanks everyone for joining in. Obviously we've got some big things coming for 40k at Adepticon, so it's going to be interesting to see what all of those things are. We'll talk more about that later, but I don't think there's going to be too much for Necrons there. However, I want to continue talking about Necrons for a while before we move off topic. So I have instigated my 3rd edition Necrons now. So I've got a couple of videos which I've made. They're in the system already. Some list building videos. And then also I'm going to play Richard on Saturday. Saturday is my birthday, 51, yeah. So to celebrate, as I've got the place to myself, Richard and I are going to play a game, and we're going to play a more fluffy game. I'm going to play my 3rd edition Necron list, and Richard's going to play Space Wolves. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. So next week you'll see the 3rd edition videos. This week I've got a battle report coming on Saturday. So yeah, lots of content coming up. Ant says magnetising tutorials are always helpful. That's good to hear, yeah. Sounds good, yes, there is that chance. You just never know what the future rules will become. Exactly, you don't know. GW changed it so much. And even little things that they do. One edition, I can't remember which one it was, but they did this like squadrons for vehicles, where you had a squadron and one of them was like the command vehicle and it gave bonuses. So like in my Eldar army, I made these little magnetised bits which go on, which indicates which one's the command one. So I was thinking, if they do that, let's say again for the Doomsday Arks, then I can use this newly magnetised one, which will look different for the command section, and the others can be just the normal ones. Yeah, GW, they like to change things. Who knows, we might get units of Doomsday Arks, and then you'll need more. GW do anything to make you buy more models, let's face it. We have Dragor. I'm looking forward to getting the Boarding Actions Necron set. Looks great value. It does look good value, yep. Yay, Necrons. Hello, Eager. How are you? Right, this is rather tiresome, let's say, doing all of the mould lines, but of course it has to be done. Now I've put a brand new blade in this knife, so I am being extra careful with it. I like a blade which is blunter. Now whilst sometimes I do cut towards myself, I am in total control with that. I'm holding it like really tight, and then I'm supporting it with my thumb, so I know I'm not going to go into anything there. So yeah, but usually a new blade goes in, you're bound to cut yourself, and I cut myself here. Not even when I was modelling, I was just like moving my knife and in my skin. So it's inevitable with a new blade, especially when you're used to a blunt one for so long. And my blade was so blunt that it just wasn't even doing anything anymore. So what I tend to do is I get the worst off with my knife, and then I use a little file. I like the round one for this, and I just file it down just to get rid of anything that I may have missed with my knife, just to make it extra flat. It's not like mega filing, just gentle. And then usually at the end I would just use a toothbrush to get rid of all of the little bits. Are you considering a colour scheme too? A new colour scheme? No, I'm going to just continue with my colour scheme. I have considered it when all the new dynasties came out, like, oh, should I do like paint some Novok miniatures and stuff, but ultimately no. I'm going to have my paint scheme, and it is what it is. Obviously we can't have mixed dynasties now. I mean, that might come back. It was more awkward when you had mixed dynasties, so you could have like some Novok units in with, say, Mefrits units, and that was a bit of a pain. But as I don't really play like in a competitive like environment of tournaments and stuff, I don't think I need to worry about that too much. And if it did ever come back, I would probably mark my units with either base adapters that are coloured, or with like little flags. Just make some little flags to go by the unit to say, right, that unit's a Novok unit and whatever. So yeah, no intentions at the moment to paint a different paint scheme. I love the use of the toothbrush, a very underrated tool. Oh, absolutely. Toothbrush is awesome. Tomorrow's reveal should be a good celebration to your birthday. Yes, so let's talk about that. So obviously we've seen the little trailer, the Terminator, and of course the Tyranid. And we're not 100% sure if it's going to be 9th edition or Space Hulk, or maybe both. It's going to be very interesting. I mean, I think it's going to be 10th. I mean, if it isn't 10th, then 10th is going to be very soon after. Now, of course, I do have a Tyranid army. Believe it or not, one of my 6 armies. So, yeah, I haven't really played Tyranids much, only a couple of times recently. I did buy that new Parasites of Mortrax model, which I enjoy painting. It's a tough one because my main issue, well, I've got 2 issues with my additional armies that aren't Necrons. And the first issue is space, because I've moved from a 3-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom flat with my fiance, and the spare bedroom is basically my daughter's bedroom, so Necron Girl is in there. And whilst it's an absolutely lovely place and lovely location, you know, space is limited, and I have a lot of models. So I've sort of maxed out my space almost until Necron Girl moves out and I get her bedroom. But that could be quite some time off. So, you know, my plan was not really to expand my other armies. Now, also, of course, I have the channel, which is primarily now, I mean, it hasn't always been, but since around 2017, I've totally concentrated as much as possible on Necrons, because, well, you know, it's my favourite army, my first love, but also because, well, the algorithm sort of suits like focused channels a lot more. So, you know, when I put a Tyranid video up, it just wouldn't perform so well, to the point that it hurt the channel. So, yeah, I don't know what to do, because the truth is, whilst I would be going against my very own advice of never getting rid of an army, I have been considering, should I just get rid of some of my other armies? Now, when I was younger, yes, never get rid of an army. Now, I'm 51, I'm thinking, am I ever going to like play these armies that much? I like to keep them because of all the work that I've put into them. But I don't know, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to move them on. The issue is that, of course, a lot of my armies are old school. You know, my Tyranids are like 3rd, 4th edition Tyranids. You know, all the Hive Tyrants, they're all, you know, the Flyrants. They're all small models with wings and stuff. Does Necron Girl play the game? I tried my absolute best to get her into the hobby, like I did with my son. And whilst they did do some hobby for a while, no, at the moment, sadly not. Have you read The Twice Dead King? I haven't read it yet, but I need to. Hey, we have Kevin from the Hobby Corner. Hello Kev, how you doing? Necrons? Here's a new way to paint Necrons. Paint or prime in all black. Next day, brush with Necron compound. Then the rest of the painting is your choice. That's pretty much what I do. But I don't use Necron compound. I just use normal silver paint. Yeah, so I have a quandary with my other armies, what to do. And if I did decide, well, okay, maybe it's time to get rid of some of them. So which ones do I get rid of? I've got Dark Eldar, Drukari, which I am incredibly proud of that army. I have, well, it used to be 2,200 points when I built it. Basically, I did this challenge that was on YouTube by Tabletop Banter, and the challenge was to make an army for 500 points for £25, and I got an awesome response from the hobby community and my subscribers, who sort of started chipping in miniatures for me. And I got 1,200 points with my first £25 after a few eBay buys and some free miniatures being sent my way. So I decided to do the hobby challenge again, and for my second £25 I managed to get about 1,000 points. And not only that, I painted the whole army for the Warbus Taze painting challenge, which was basically a 30-day painting challenge. And I managed to paint all the army, the whole army, in 30 days, which I'm incredibly proud of. So that army just means a lot to me. I've played it a few times, but I wouldn't want to get rid of it because of all that. Necron Girl is his daughter. Yes, that's correct. Get rid of the Dark Eldar. Well, that was my first thought, but now, I don't know. I'm just over halfway through painting my Silent King. I wish work would stop getting in the way. Yeah, sadly, that is life, isn't it? So, other armies. Right, so I've got my Space Wolves. Now, my Space Wolves were my second army, the 13th Company. They're from the Eye of Terror Codex. And I went for those because they were totally the opposite of Necrons at the time. Necrons were just a shooty army, and I used to play against Emperor's Children all the time, get my butt whipped in close combat. And I said, right, my next army has to be a close combat army. And the Eye of Terror came out. My buddy did the Lost and Damned that was in there, and I did the Space Wolves. I really liked the Space Wolves because of those Fenrisian wolves. They really took my eye. So yeah, I did the 13th Company army, and with my Necrons I did no conversions because I was a bit of a fanatic at the time, and I just wanted my army to look exactly like the Codex. So I built them all, no conversions, and then I painted them all just like all the pictures in that 3rd edition Codex. But when it came to the Space Wolves, I thought, now this could be an opportunity for me to do some conversions. And this was at a time where you could phone up Games Workshop and spend an absolute fortune on buying bits. So you bought bits. And the 13th Company was an ideal army to do conversions because you had Space Marine bits, you had Space Wolf bits, and you had Chaos Space Marine bits because they were lost in the Eye of Terror for 10,000 years and they had to replace their armour with Chaos armour. So it was a fantastic modelling opportunity. The armour was all supposed to be worn down and battered, so I could do loads of like bullet holes and weathering and like battle damage. And the 13th Company had no vehicles. The only thing they had was bikes, and that was it. So the long and short is, I've spent an absolute fortune on my Space Wolves, and each model is highly converted. And I've painted the majority of them, not all of them, but I've painted a good number of them. And I painted them to the highest level that I could at the time. And that army means a lot to me, even though it's probably my least favourite army to play, because I'm not a huge Space Marine fan. It is an army which means a lot to me, and I wouldn't like to get rid of it. Even though, yes, once again, it's old school, it's mini Marines, not Primaris, but I could potentially get away with that on the tabletop because they were locked in the Eye of Terror for 10,000 years to return. So yeah, they could return but still be in their old small armour, not Primaris. So I think I could get away with it from a fluff point of view. So yeah, I don't want to get rid of my Space Wolves. So what else? What else? Well, I've got Emperor's Children, and that is a most recent project of mine, and I've currently got 36 Noise Marines painted to my absolute highest standard that I can, and I've got a converted Demon Prince S. Yes, old model, so again, yeah, old models. So those are going to be mini Marines as well, though they are on bigger bases, which give them a bit of height. But yeah, now that army of course isn't finished, but once again, because I've converted them and painted them to my highest possible painting, which was quite, fairly recently done, probably about, well, a couple of years, 3 years probably. That's an army which not only do I not want to get rid of, but I actually want to finish. It's a very thematic army. I want to do 60 demonettes in this army. I've got 30 built, but so I need to do some more. So I've got lots of work to do with that army, and it's not finished, and arguably I could say, well, okay, let's just get rid of that, but I'm so proud of what I did with the work, I don't want to get rid of it. So that's the Emperor's Children. Then I've got Eldar. Now Eldar was my third army, and I got into Eldar because I walked past a charity shop, and in the window was some Guardians and a Farseer, a metal Farseer, all boxed up, not even opened, and I couldn't resist it, so I bought it. And then of course I had to buy the codex, and then it snowballed from there. I've got a lot of Eldar, and I really enjoyed painting the Eldar as well. Ant says I'm working on a large Salamanders army. Awesome stuff. So yeah, again I went to town a bit on the Eldar. It was my first opportunity to have vehicles in my army, because apart from the monolith, the Necrons had no vehicles in 3rd/4th edition. And then of course my 13th Company wasn't allowed to take vehicles, so I had 2 armies with no vehicles, and then I got the Eldar, and I'd spent a lot of time watching my buddies convert their vehicles with Forge World bits. So when I had the opportunity to not only have vehicles but also to use Forge World bits on my vehicles, again I went to town and I got the Forge World Mark II conversion kit and converted all of my vehicles into those. So I've got 3 wave serpents, I've got 2 fire prisms, and I've got 1 Valcom. I've also got a flyer which I converted from a wave serpent in that kit with the Mark II Forge World stuff. So I've got quite a few vehicles, and again, it's an army which not only have I spent a lot of money on, I spent a lot of time painting, because my paint scheme is a time-consuming paint scheme, purple and white. So the white is like really hard to paint. The purple, the scheme that I've made because I didn't know how to paint back then, is quite unusual, and it takes a while to paint it. And of course I like to match all my armies together, so that's my Eldar. Now I've got a lot of Eldar miniatures, not so much Dark Eldar miniatures, no Tyranids that haven't been painted. So my Tyranid army is done. I've got no outstanding models to add to it. No pile of shame for Tyranids. My Dark Eldar, I have a couple of models, but nothing major, so I don't plan to expand my Dark Eldar. So yeah, no pile of shame for them. My Space Wolves, I do have a few units which I need to work on. And then my Eldar, I've got a lot of extra units, a pile of shame as such. But I have a good amount of that army built and painted to the point that I could probably just not add to it and still have a decent army. So that's my Eldar. Now, my pile of shames are all round my mum's house because I don't have any room for the pile of shames here. Dave Dog, hello Dave. Are there Games Workshop Adepticon announcements today, or is the big one tomorrow? It is, well, from a UK point of view, it's 3 o'clock in the morning tonight or tomorrow. So obviously. But yeah, 10th potentially in there. Space Hulk. Yeah, it's gonna be fun times. I don't think the Necrons will get much this time round because obviously we had it all the last time. So is that all my armies? So we've got Dark Eldar, Space Wolves, 13th Company, that's 4, and Tyranids, yeah, that's 5, and then of course my Necrons. Now at one point my Eldar was split up into different factions, so I had like a Harlequin army. I had 30 Harlequins and stuff, but that was before Harlequins got their own codex, but nothing's painted. So all of those miniatures are in my unpainted pile, and I've now just declared that I don't own a Harlequin army. These take forever, don't they? Scraping off mould lines. It's worth it though, because there's nothing worse than seeing a miniature which is painted and has mould lines everywhere. I am guessing there though, I am guessing there. So yeah, as you can see, I've got a love for all of my old armies, and trying to get, would I get rid of one, and which one would I get rid of? Arguably the Tyranids probably mean less to me in some ways, because I always classed the Tyranids as my kick around army. I bought them for my buddy, a massive box of broken Tyranids, and I bought them really cheap, and I was going to use them as what was, like I said, a kick around army, just an army which I could just paint like really easily. I've got a mega easy paint scheme. They're basically just black and then some yellow like highlights. At one point my son played them, he had them, but then he went on to Space Marines and Dark Angels in the end. So the fact that I haven't put quite as much time into painting them. I mean, I have put time into painting them, obviously, because even a quick paint scheme takes time. I tended to batch paint like a huge amount of them in one go. But arguably, yeah, they mean the less to me from one point of view, but from the other point of view, out of all my other armies, apart from Necrons, they're probably the most fun to play. You know, totally different from Necrons, and they have some fun rules and fun miniatures, and yeah, Doom of Melantai. Oh, I hope he comes back in the next edition, because he was fun. Well, fun to play. I don't think he was fun to have against you. I remember he took out a whole unit of 10 tactical marines with his power. He used to come down and brain leech, I think it was called. Okay, so I think I've done all the mould lines on this. Didn't do the inside of this though, so I better do that. Like I said, this was a bit impromptu. I didn't plan to do this until like half an hour before. Quickly set up OBS, quickly made a thumbnail, and I thought, yeah, why not? Let's do it. Let's do it, because it's always good to connect to people, and going out a different day than a different time to what I normally do, then that's good. What's your favourite Forge World model? I would say the Seraptic Heavy Construct. That's an awesome miniature. Really like it. I would love to have been one of those people that had two. Sorry, not two, three. I do only have one. I have no space for more than one, so I cannot get any more, let alone obviously the finances for more than one. But yeah, I remember when it first came out and the 3 Seraptic list was the thing. At tournaments, that is. I don't really play it now because the rules are rubbish. It used to be really good. I mean, the guns used to be really good. Now they're sort of meh. The points have always been very expensive. I mean, I think it's currently 600, I think, off memory. It used to be 650. But the trouble is, it only has a 5+ invulnerable save. Whilst it's got like 28 wounds. Sounds really good. It's not really good because, in my experience playing Richard, 28 wounds is nothing when you only have a 5+ save on there. It's just too expensive in points to really be viable. I mean, if it had a 4+ invulnerable save, then yeah, it's worth those points. If it had some sort of living metal, not living metal, quantum shielding, yeah, then yeah, it might be worth those points. It's just too easy to take down for the points. I don't know what's going on with Forge World, whether they're on their way out as such, because a lot of the miniatures now that they used to do are sort of coming out in plastic, aren't they? I'm sure most of the stuff that they make now at Forge World they could make in plastic quite easily, surely. Maybe it's the cost, maybe it's plastic more expensive to make in those like bigger models. Right, let's have a look. So obviously I am doing my Ghost Arks now because I have finished painting my Locust Lord and my Locust Heavy Destroyers, and I've got some videos coming on those. There's a couple of showcase shorts, there's a painting tutorial and a couple of other, well, at least one more video on something else that I wanted to share with those. So yeah, that's all done, hence doing these Ghost Arks. Now what I plan to do As you know, I recently did my showcase video of my army, or videos. That was done at the end of 2022. So what I was thinking of doing is at the end of every year, or potentially the beginning of the year, I will do a showcase video of everything that I've painted that year, built and painted or whatever, for Necrons that's added to the army. So then I'll never have to do another showcase video of the whole army. It's almost like I'm just adding to the series. So I'll have all the videos, and then it will be, right, this year I painted these and they're added to the army, etc. So that was my plan. Obviously so far I've only done the 3 Locust heavy destroyers, and I've just started these, and it's like nearly April, so not a huge amount of stuff, but well, being content creator, to be fair, does take away quite a bit of your hobby time. I had a day off on Monday and I spent the whole day making videos instead of doing hobby, so you know, that it definitely slows me down. On the flip side to that, it also helps motivate me, because without wanting to like have videos about things that I'm doing, then maybe I wouldn't actually do the things either. So it's hard to say, but I'm sure I'll make some progress. I find when I do like a massive batch painting project, that really increases my output. It's like when I painted the 2 halves of the Dominion box set, you know, I added loads of models to that. And then towards the end of last year I painted 10 HQ characters in one go in a batch paint. Pardon me. So that was useful. Oh, I've just realised I've got a coffee there, it's gone totally cold now. Do you have any ideas what time it is here? Bloody early, how's things? Yeah, isn't it 6 hours difference, yeah? So if I'm, well, 6 or 7 depending on the UK time. So America, you are behind us, right? And then when you go the other side, like towards Indonesia and Asia and stuff, then they're 6 hours ahead of you. So yeah, I really like the new boarding actions playstyle, but I'm afraid to buy some boarding patrol boxes and getting into more armies than I should. That is one reason why I haven't got into things like Kill Team and stuff. I've threatened Kill Team on the channel, but ultimately it's just something else. And it depends on your gaming group. If you've got a gaming group and they're all getting into it, then it works. But I haven't really got that, so yeah, it is a tough one. And of course it's more terrain, more storage for terrain. I don't have any storage for terrain. Half of my terrain is around my buddy's house in his loft, along with my old gaming board and stuff. All of my Cities of Death buildings, and I've got 6 of them, quite big ones, they're all in his loft. They'd make quite good 9th edition terrain if I cut them in half. And potentially I might have done that if I had the space and had them here with me, but I don't. So yeah, it is what it is. Right, have I done? Yeah, I've done that one. Right. Not quite sure how long I'm going to go live for. As I said, this is just totally unplanned. Probably until I run out of things to say or I've finished hobbying. I've got until around 2:30 when I have to leave to pick up Necron girl from school, and then she's got the dentist, so we've got to go straight to the dentist, and then we've got to go shopping, food shopping, so do that, come home, have some dinner. We are currently watching Star Trek Voyager, so we'll watch a few episodes of those, and then probably do a little bit more hobby in the evening before bed. As I said, at the moment I've got the place to myself, so That wouldn't be my normal routine. Morning Nick, how's it going? It's Tabletop Tom. Hello Tom, how you doing? Supposing we are seeing the end of 9th edition, what's been the best and worst thing about playing Necrons in 9th for you? Oh wow. So I mean the best thing has got to be all the new miniatures. You know, the start of 9th, those fantastic miniatures, and gaming wise, before Orcs got their new codex, Richard and I had some great games. I mean close games. As soon as he got his new codex, it became very one-sided and not quite as much fun. So the codex creep is what spoilt Necrons as such. But I think, yeah, just all the new model releases really. That's been pretty amazing to see, and you know, given me lots of hobby opportunities as well. Because before those miniatures came, apart from a few things, I haven't got that much of a pile of shame for Necrons really. And to be fair, the pile of shame that I've got is just miniatures that people have given me. I had totally finished my Necrons, my Necron army, but then I had some very generous subscribers donate to the channel, so these 2 Ghost Arks were donated to me. Yeah, but great question, Tom. Hey, helping me out get through building a monolith. Awesome, JB. I had a look through my pile of shame when I was looking for these, and I actually do have another monolith. It's like a really broken down monolith. Again, the subscriber gave it to me. Now I've got 3 already, 2 old ones and 1 new one. It's like, do I want to build another one? Again, storage space, even making it as a piece of terrain, storage space. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with that, to be fair, at the moment. We'll see. So like I said, Necron and Gale and I have been watching Star Trek Voyager. If you're unaware, for whatever reason, I am a huge Trekkie. I do love Star Trek, and I also love Star Wars, so don't panic. I do love Star Wars as well, but yeah, I've loved Star Wars since I was a wee lad, watching the original series, not the 66 one, but it would have been a rerun, of course. I'm not that old. With my dad. Watching it with my dad, and my love for Star Trek has always been there. I collect the books. I've got 500 Star Trek novels all around my mum's house in the loft. Yeah. Just finished building a Triarch Stalker in my head called Delirium, but I built it with the body upside down, laugh out loud. Which weapon should I go for? Well, it's easy to magnetise that thing. I've got a tutorial on it if you want to magnetise it. If you don't want to magnetise it, this edition is probably going to be the Heat Ray, is it called? All other editions, it's been the Gauss Flare, the Gauss one. Twin Heavy Gauss Destructor, that's the one. I've played that in all the other editions, but in this edition I think that Heat Ray is probably the best one. But if you can magnetise it, and it is a pretty simple magnetising thing to do, I'd recommend that personally, because the game changes and your opponents change as well. You know, sometimes certain guns just don't match against certain opponents. So yes, yeah, we've been watching Voyager, which is pretty cool. Necron Gale has always shied away from watching Star Trek, but I've had Voyager on in the background and she seems to be getting into it. And like last night we were watching it, eating our dinner with watching it, and she had to go and do some homework and stuff. I said, oh, it's okay. She goes, oh yeah, but I missed this. I said, I'll pause it, don't worry. So yeah, it's nice to see. My son couldn't get into Star Trek, he doesn't like it. but my other daughter, she loves it, and she's got her boyfriend into it now as well. They watch Picard and everything. It's great to see so many Star Trek shows though. I'm currently watching Lower Decks. Just finished watching season 2, enjoying that. I watched Prodigy previously, which I didn't think I was going to like, but I really did like it. I thought that was awesome. And whilst it's made for kids, believe me, you will love it, even if you're not a kid. It's really, really good. And actually the story's quite, I'd say it's fairly complex for a kids show, but yeah, so that's that. Yeah, I love Star Trek. I am also watching obviously the Star Wars stuff. I mean, I grew up with Star Wars. I found Star Wars before Star Trek because it was in my era. I was 5 when the film came out in '77, and all my buddies, they had all the figurines and stuff, and so did I. Sold them all when I was 16 for £1 each, and I don't regret that at all. So yeah, I've always loved Star Wars, and of course all the new shows that have come out. So I watched Andor, Mandalorian. I'm currently watching obviously the new series. I watched Boba Fett, which I think got slated quite a bit. I thought it was okay. It was okay, but and then obviously Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I enjoyed. So yeah, I mean, I'm not one of these like fanatics about the canon when it comes to Star Wars. I just watch it, enjoy it, and finish watching it, and that's it. You know, I'm into the canon a bit more when it comes to Star Trek. Cheers. You're welcome, Kev. No trouble. Yeah. Right. That's those bits done. What else? So now it's time to glue this together, apparently. Right, so we've got... Oh, hold on. Oh no, I just realised. I've only done one half of the gun. I've only done one gun. That is a sprue on the floor, which I cannot get right now because it's behind the desk. Yeah, I've got the other one, so I've still got more scraping of these guns to do. Okay, never mind. I'm going to be here just basically scraping these guns down for the whole of the show. These things do take time though. It's half the fun of it, isn't it? It wouldn't be such an enjoyable hobby, would it, if you just like bought your model from Games Workshop and it was, like say, like built for you, even painted for you. You just take it out of the box and play it. I'm sure a lot of people would like that, but for me, you know, part of the hobby is this. You know, even though I don't like it, I say I don't like it. It's my least favourite thing to do, the hobby. Scraping mould lines off. Have you ever thought about to play Star Wars Legion? No. Mainly because, again, it comes down to space and the models. If I had a friend or someone that I knew that had the game, had all the miniatures, and I could play it without any commitment, you know, just turn up at their house, they've got an army there for me and I can play it, and then I would. Yeah, I'd have a go. Now I did consider live streaming my battle reports on my birthday on Saturday. I considered it. I've decided not to, mainly because I want to get my list videos out before the battle report, and just the way things were all scheduled, it just wouldn't happen. But yeah, I was thinking about doing a live battle report. I've considered it for quite some time actually. It is awkward unless I've got the place to myself, then I'm not going to be able to do it. So I do have an opportunity to do it. but probably won't. Jared says mould lines can be a real chore to remove. Totally agree. Totally agree. But it has to be done, doesn't it? Tabletop Tom says, one thing I've learned with 40k sprues, there's always another gun. Yeah. I always meticulously check the sprue for anything before I put it in the bin. And even then I missed one thing. It was the little neck of the warrior from the driver. So I had to fish it out the bin and cut the neck off. So I thought, whilst we're getting to know each other, because whilst I have covered a lot of this in the channel before, because obviously I've been on YouTube since 2009, so I have covered a lot of this, but a lot of you guys are new to the channel, they're new subscribers, haven't seen some of my other Q&A videos and stuff that I used to do before I focused 100% on Necrons. So yeah, I thought I'd just share a few extra things. So as I said, I'm a massive Star Trek fan, but also I am a massive snooker fan. So I love snooker, always have done. My mum used to watch it on the telly when I was a kid all the time, and I used to obviously enjoy it. Got a stick from the garden and some marbles and pretended I had a snooker table in my bedroom with some books making up the table. That was around 1983-4 that I used to do that, and I always remember watching the 1985 final. I did stay up, and I am a huge Steve Davis fan. And I was absolutely gutted when he lost that final, I have to say. Gutted. But there you go. Yeah, so a huge snooker fan. I love watching it, but also playing it. So I play snooker in a local league, in a team. We play once a week. When I was younger, I used to practice a lot more than I do now. So now I only play once a week. If I didn't have the 40k hobby, I probably would be down the snooker club playing snooker. But this hobby keeps me at home, which is good when you have a family. And I still enjoy the snooker. I enjoy playing once a week and socialising and playing the game. So yeah, snooker is my other thing. I've had a great season actually this season. So it's a handicap league. The handicap goes from scratch, 0, up to 55. So if a scratch player played a 55 handicapper, then the 55 handicapper would get a 55 start, which, considering there's 147 points on the table, if you put everything, that's quite a big start. So I had eyesight trouble a few years ago. Before lockdown, my eyes were getting worse, and just because of my age basically. So my snooker was getting worse, to the point that my handicap was going down and down. So my handicap ended on 25 before lockdown, and then we didn't play for like 18 months because we couldn't get to the snooker club. So that didn't help. So it took me a while to get my rhythm going again, and then obviously I've got these glasses now, so I'm able to see the balls, which helps. And I've had a really good season. So the first half of the season, when you get reassessed, I went from 25 down to 13. It's done on a percentage, so I think it's every 5% above 50 that you are, you lose 2 points on your handicap. Something like that. Yeah, anyway. So now, in the second half, off of 13, I'm at 67% success, win rate. So when the season's just finished, so when the new season starts, my handicap's going to be readjust again. So I'm thinking, it's going to go down to around 6, something like that. So Yeah, I've got right the way back down, which is really nice. Will you be buying the upcoming boarding patrols? No, I won't, because I don't plan on playing the game. I don't really need the miniatures in there. Have a great time after work. See you later, Steve. I've got my phone on because I'm waiting for a message, which I've just got, so bear with me a second. Right. I can't even remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, snooker. So yeah, snooker's one of my other hobbies. And the other thing that I absolutely love is Prince. So yeah, I'm a massive, massive Prince fan. Found Prince when I was about 15. Sign of the Times album, 1987. So yeah, 15. And haven't looked back. Huge, huge Prince fan. Seen him 6 times live, which was awesome. And obviously he's no longer with us, sadly, but I listen to his music all the time in the car, and I'm very pleased to say that Necron Girl also likes him, which is awesome, because I always remember my dad, he loves, or he loved when he was alive, Frank Sinatra. That was his like hero in the music world. Ow! No blood. No blood. That's the thing with the knife. You usually cut yourself, not when you're actually doing the hobby, when you're swinging the knife around. So yeah, he loved Frank Sinatra, and I did not like Frank Sinatra at all. And I think he was gutted. So I don't have that experience, which is cool, because Necron Gal really likes Prince. She's in her bedroom singing his songs. Yeah. Alright, that's that one done. There should be one more. There it is. Just make sure there's no blood. No. I have had some major cuts. Not as major as some people from the hobby. I think my first, probably biggest one, when I was cutting up a piece of polystyrene stuff for a piece of terrain that I was making right at the beginning of when I started the hobby. I had one of those knives that you break off. You know, they when they get blunt, you just snap it off and then it goes down. And I'm not sure I quite realised how they work. And what I did, I extended the knife right the way out so that I could like cut deep into this polystyrene. And of course it snapped and went into my finger. So that was one. And then the other one, I was cutting a miniature off a base, and I thought I had full control of it, and I didn't, because I put a load of pressure on and it went straight through into my thumb. And I have a scar there to this day, and it is slightly numb on the end of my thumb there. So I'm ultra careful if I can be. The last accident I had, which was quite nasty actually, the knife dropped off the desk and went all the way down into my foot. So yeah, that actually hurt quite a bit. It wasn't actually my foot, it was like almost like the ankle at the top. You know, the joint between the, you know, that bit that moves around, like the fleshy bit. Yeah, that was nasty. Hello Nick. Hello Mr. Scroogion. How you doing? Every 5% above 50 points in your average game, or every 5% above a 50% win rate. There's every 5 points above 50%. Yeah, so basically if you play 6 games and you draw all 6 of them, um, so you're at 50%, then your handicap stays the same. But if you lose some, you go down to 45%, let's say, your handicap goes up 2 points. And if you win more than you lose and you go up to, you're at 55% win rate, then you lose 2 points off your handicap. So that's how it works. Ouch, yeah, it did hurt. It was the first time I hobbied in front of my fiance. It was my old house, and she came round for the day, and I said, "Oh, you don't mind if I do a bit of hobby for like half an hour, like easing her into what I do, whilst we were watching the telly, sort of thing." She said, "Yeah, no trouble." And I literally sat down. I did like 3 minutes work, and then the knife like fell off into my foot. So yeah, that's my other loves: snooker, Star Trek, and Prince. I recently upgraded my car, and it doesn't have a CD player in, which I know is old school, old fashioned. Because all, you plug your phone in and all this rubbish now, Spotify and stuff. I'm not really into that. Um, the guy that like sold it to me, I said, "There's no CD player." He goes, "Oh no, you don't have CD players now because you end up listening to the same CD like over and over." I was like, "Yeah, that's what I like to do." That new Prince album that came out after he died, Welcome to America, I bought that and I had that in my car for 6 months. Just listen to that one album for 6 months is how I listen to music. I get an album, I listen to it on and on and on. Then I go and get another album and I listen to that. But yeah, this car, no CD player. Necron Gal connects her phone to it for me when she's in the car with Spotify, and then you can listen to Prince then. So I need to either get Spotify or just put some of my CDs onto a memory stick. The thing is now, a lot of computers and stuff don't really even have DVD players, do they? And CD players. So even that's going to be a bit of a mission. I've got one at work that has a CD thing in, so I might be able to try and do it on the lunch break or something. Getting back into Star Trek recently, rewatching Deep Space Nine again. Yeah, Deep Space Nine's so good, especially season 4 onwards. It's like one of those things where you watch an episode and you just have to watch the next one. Obviously, Star Trek Discovery, they've just announced the end of it. It's a shame, but I think they made a bit of an error right at the beginning of that show, and that was A, the Klingons. What the hell? B, there's no way they should have been in that time zone. They should have just been in the far future in the first place. And I think if they'd done that and kept the format that we know and love, then I think they might have been better off. But they tried something different. I have enjoyed the series. It's nice having something different to watch. But yeah, that's it, isn't it? Go on. DS9 is good. Agreed. I have them all on DVD. Not that I have a DVD player now. And obviously you can watch them online now. But yeah, I have them on the box sets when they came out. They look really, really cool, especially when they're on the shelf. But at the moment, they are just in a cupboard. I have debated, like, oh, do I just get rid of them because I can watch any episode I want anywhere without having to put a DVD in. So it's like, is that another thing I could get rid of? When I was younger, and you think your life is much longer than it actually is, you think, oh yeah, no, I'll have that, keep that, keep this. And now I'm older and I'm like 51. I'm thinking, you know? Is it really worth me having that now? It's like, what's going to happen to it in the future? Yeah, it is hard. Your perspective changes when you get older. Ghost Ark spam incoming. The Ghost Ark kit was awful to work on. I can't imagine doing two back to back. Well, my first two I did straight away. I mean together, and I fully magnetised both of them together. I prefer batch work actually. Always have done. That's both painting and building. One reason for that is when I first started, and I suppose I'm like it now really, I'm pretty fussy, and I want everything to be the same. So the only way to get stuff the same is to do it at the same time. You know, so for example, when I painted my Aldar jet bikes, you know, I could have just painted like 3 of them, or like a unit of 6, and then, you know, 6 months later did another unit. But no, because I wanted them all to be painted the same, so I did all of my jet bikes all at the same time. And that's probably where I've always done that. That's probably now how I actually prefer to paint, and build as well. You know, just get everything done at the same time if I can. There's no way you're 50, Nick. I'm not. Oh no, I'm not. Well, I am at the moment. I'm 51 on Saturday. Was awful to work on. Applied to about 75% of Necron kits. I haven't done the new flayed ones yet. I've heard they're horrible. I did really struggle with the Silent Kings not the Menhers, the Triarch people, the 2 people in the thing. That is a goddamn awful design. I've had people say that the Psychomancer was really hard to build. I didn't have any problems with mine though. I've also heard of people having trouble with this Ghost Ark where the spines don't fit properly, or they're all bent and stuff. Mine seem okay, but then this is quite an old kit, you know, so probably one of the first releases. Right, I'm nearly there. I'm nearly in a position to be able to glue these together, which is always good. Right. Okay. Now we can glue them together. Kevin Kirk. Hello! Hello, Kevin. Just got the King, Triarch Stalker, and the Void Dragon. Excellent. Excellent. So which one are you going to work on first? Okay, let's glue this together. Part 1. No, which one's part 1? Yeah, this one. They all look the same. Oh yeah, that's got a nodule at the bottom. They all look the same. I think they are the same. Oh, they are the same, yeah, number one. Right, okay. Always make sure 100% I've got the right bit going in the right place. So this, apparently, goes in. Yeah, that's it, right way. There we go. Okay, so that glues there, and then the other bit goes at the top, like that. There we go. Okay. Someone's messaging me. I magnetised a Demos Rhino for my Thousand Suns 30k about a week ago. Good stuff. Just finished the Void Dragon. Really don't like the paint scheme though. It's a shame. Yeah, my Ghost Ark is an eBay rescue, and it took a lot of work to straighten it out. I'm only halfway through painting it though, so it's still in bits. It looks good in my Skeletor scheme so far. Awesome. I've seen a couple of different Skeletor Necron schemes. Works quite well. Right, here we go then. Let's get some glue. Goes there. And now gluing all of this. I tend to glue all of the edges, not just the little nodules that are there, because it just helps glue it together. Oh, I've got, that reminds me actually, I've got some gaps to fill on the drivers. Their shoulders have got massive gaps. I'm very careful when I like cut them off the sprue and stuff, and I didn't damage them in any way, but when you join them together, huge gaps. So I'm going to have to green stuff them in, I think. Right, make sure it's all fit. Get rid of any surplus glue, which there isn't any. Just make sure though. Right, that looks good. Make sure it looks like what it's supposed to in the instruction book. Yep, that looks like it. Right, so that's one done. Who's ready for 10th? I'm sort of half ready. It would be nice to level the playing field a little bit more, hopefully. Haven't even played 9th. Was just getting into 9th, I can't keep up. It is a bit of a struggle sometimes. I hope we get a rule set for 10th. Rules that cancel our older rules feel rubbish to play with. Good morning, Nick. Hope you and your family are well. Also Necrons. Hello, Jambo. We are very well, thank you. Yeah, the rules won't be cancelled out until they do something, either like an index thing, like they did in one edition, I think it was 8th, where every army got some basic rules, and then they gradually introduced the codices, or until we get a new codex. So one way or the other, but what I can guarantee you is that even if we're good at the beginning or any point, it won't stay that way, because the game is forever changing. You know, we might be good even for a whole edition, but not for forever. So I think that is why you definitely need a love for your army that you play, because if you don't, it can be very disheartening. I mean, at the moment, it's not a huge amount of fun playing Necrons in a competitive way, because we do struggle to compete. You know, it's really hard work. You can't. I think I was talking to Richard about this. You know, Richard can turn up at a game, and he can put his models down, and he can think about going out and killing stuff. You know, having fun killing stuff. I can't do that. I've got to put my models down and think, right, how am I going to get the most amount of points here? You know, what objectives, you know, play for this objective, play for that objective. It's not the same, you know, his fun is not the same, because I can't just put my models down and think, right, yeah, I'm going to go out, kill this, kill that. Because A, usually the army can't do that, and B, because you need points to win with Necrons. So yeah, it's, can be hard work. So from that point of view, I'm ready for 10th. Yeah. I was looking at all my books that I've got for 9th edition. I've got quite a few books, all those chapter approveds and stuff. And whilst you don't have to buy them, of course, I have. And yeah, I spent a lot of money on rules this edition. GW know exactly what they're doing, don't they? Kevin says, my Orcs buddy rolls over me every game in this edition. That's pretty much what happens to me. It doesn't help that my dice rolls are terrible, I must admit, but even so. My armies always seem to get the first books and then they lose out in the power creep. Yeah, that is always a problem. I bought the Silent King in November, still haven't built him, too lazy. Well, I bought all of the new miniatures when they first came out in 9th edition, and I'd only literally, like last month, finished all of those new miniatures. The Locust Destroyers were the last ones for me to do. One warrior toughness 4 versus an orc boy strength 5, toughness 5 is insane. It always seems that orcs have an answer for everything that I've got. You know, that they have an answer. You know, they do the war, they've got that amazing, like, invulnerable save on all of the army. They've got good shooting, everything's got D3 damage, or 3 damage, or 6 damage. The psychic powers are awesome. They're fast. They're really good in close combat. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It is hard. It never used to be the way. I used to love playing against orcs. You know, you could just rock up and, you know, orcs used to die. And that's what they was designed for. You had lots of them on the table and you just kill them and you had fun. It was a bit like playing Tyranids. You know, I really enjoyed playing Tyranids. The fact that you could, like, put all these models down and you're taking them off in droves, but you still have loads of models left. My orcs aren't like that now. I mean, Rich still has a lot of units, far more than me, but they're just harder, much harder to kill, much harder. The 5+ army invuln is insane. It is, yeah. It is, especially when, you know, like, our RP doesn't work against mortal wounds, and there's just so many things against us. I had a fantastic 2K game against my friend with his orcs. He brought 164 models in his army and called the war first turn. It was hilariously mental. I remember playing Tyranids versus Orcs. This is quite a long time ago, I think 5th edition. And we both turned up and we both had an horde army, as many models as possible. We had over 100 miniatures each, which at the time was quite a lot. At like 1,500 points, I think it was. That was a lot of fun, that game. That was a lot of fun. D6 shots and damage on the Canoptic Doomstalkers and Annihilation Barges are really underwhelming in my opinion. Yeah, the randomness has been an issue forever with this new codex. Alright, let's see what else we've got to do. Okay, we've got the side sections and the top sections, which I don't need to do because I am going to magnetise mine. So that's a magnet in there. So I only need to do that side piece. So I basically need number 2 and 6. 2 and 6. Right, I'll put these in my box. Right, look at this sprue, I've still got loads to do. 2 and 6. I've got a feeling they're going to be on the other sprue that's half empty. He says. It's like doing a word search, isn't it? First, I just see if I can find it without looking at the numbers, and then I have to resort to going through all the numbers. I cannot see anything. Okay. 2 and 6. Right, here we go. 2, there we go. Oh, that's lucky. Always make sure I'm cutting in the right place, because I have once accidentally cut the wrong place and ruined a miniature. Right, that was 2. Now I'm trying to find the other 2s. There we go. So there should be 4 of these. Let's have a look at my list, see if I've got anything else I haven't talked about, which I haven't. So I've never played Space Hulk before, which is weird. I've played it on a computer game, but I haven't played it. Now that looks like one of the bits I need in the corner. Yeah. Number 6, there we go. It's all about, well, time, money, and storage space. That's the key things when it comes to this hobby. That's why I try not to, if I can help it, do anything else apart from just standard 40k. You know, when all these new games come out and stuff, I tend to, if I can, avoid them. My buddy has Blood Bowl, and I do have a Blood Bowl team. I have a Dread Ball team, which Skaven, which I use as Blood Bowl, and then I have a Dwarfs Blood Bowl team. I don't particularly like the game that much, but it's nice for a change. And as my buddy has the game, we do sometimes play it. Off to bed, getting late in Melbourne. See you next time, Nick. Keep well, mate. Thank you, Jared. Appreciate you popping in. Yeah, it's yeah, I enjoy going live. I haven't done one of these hobby things for quite some time. I used to do it a lot in the past, but I thought I would have a go. As I'm here by myself, if my fiance's here, I'm not really going to be able to do it. But whilst I've got the place to myself, then why not? Right, so we need. So there should be 1, 4. There should be 8 of those. So there's 2 more here. Okay. Right, that's all of those, and then there should be 4 of these, so I need to find another 2. Easier said than done. Can't even remember where they were. Back to the numbers. Kefathar, thank you very much. Thanks for joining. Number 2, number 2. Number 2. Right, I think I've used that one. Number 2. Aha, number 2, right. Need one more. One more. I've used it on that screw already. There it is. Hey. Ta-da! Right. Back to scraping. Yeah, I've got a meeting at past, so I'd better get some work done. If you're still alive, I'll stop back later. Thank you. Yeah, enjoy your meeting. I appreciate it's an awkward time for many, depending on where you are in the world. Awkward if you're in the UK because you're probably at work and you're either going to bed or just waking up. So it's always hard to which time to go for the best. You know, it's very difficult. Right, okay. Have I been alive for, wow, an hour and a half already? That's a long time. Still, time does go quick, doesn't it? Right, let's get these done. If you have any topics or questions you'd like to ask me, then feel free, because I have exhausted my little list of things to talk about. We've got end of financial year coming up at work, so we've got our annual stock take, and it falls on the Sunday, and as I said, my birthday's on Saturday. Stock take on Sunday, and not only that, but the clocks in the UK go forward an hour, so I'm going to lose an hour's sleep, and I'm going to have to go into work early in the day after my birthday, where I might potentially have a bit of a hangover. So it's not going to be good. At least it didn't fall on my birthday, I suppose. What's your Necron wish list at the moment? Character model refresh, new units maybe. I really want pariahs again. Yeah, I think my wish list, and the one thing which I think will happen, I don't think it's my wish list to be fair, but one thing which I think will happen is the Necron characters that we've got currently in Finecast will be redone in plastic. I don't know all of them. I have a funny feeling, and this is just an instinct I suppose, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of our special characters were taken away from us, and then the others that are left will get new models like Illuminor. Now it wouldn't really bother me too much because I've already got all of my Kit Bash miniatures. I mean, I'll probably still get them, but yeah, I've already got the miniatures. Wish list, I have no model wish list, just down to the fact that surely we've got enough units now. I mean, how many more units do we need? Yeah, I don't really have a wish list for models. Obviously rules, it's going to be difficult to make a wish list without knowing what the new rule set's going to be. There's rumours of the toughness like not really being a thing, so like you have your stats to hit and wound on the actual unit, so like your unit will hit on 3s and wound on 5s regardless. I don't know whether I want that to happen or not. I suppose it might make things a little easier, but If the rule sets stay, let's say, similar to what it is now, then 100% we need our weapons not to be so swingy. The difference of damage is just crazy, from doing like nothing to doing a good amount. It's so hard, so many dice rolls to get through, as you say, like with the Doomsday Ark. You've got random amount of shots, and then you've got random amount of damage. It's just way too random. And clearly they've gone away from that, because you only have to look at all the new codices and all the new bigger weapons, and none of them are like that, are they? They're 3 plus D3 shots, 3 plus D3 damage. So you're looking at minimum of 4 and 4. Happy early birthday, thank you. What are you hoping for with 10th? I really want a refresh on the Nightbringer. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I mean, they're Finecast, aren't they, as well? So anything that's Finecast, I think, will be remade. So the Deceiver and the Nightbringer definitely could be a possibility for a refresh. I would like to see Necrons go back to what they were a little bit more. RP, I'd like to see that changed again, but for the better. I mean, RP's been useless. I mean, there are other armies which have better survivability than we do. Yeah, I'm not liking RP at all. Maybe because I hardly play warriors, so I don't really see it work. Most of my units are multi-wounded. It doesn't have to be too powerful, but just something that actually works, because it's so hard to get RP. I like the idea personally, which I thought 9th edition was going to be for RP, from the way they worded it, because they worded it that some units will have a harder time reanimating than others. And my thoughts and what I think would work better is the RP save itself changing on the units. So like warriors, RP on a 4+, and then multi-wounded units, they RP on a 5+ or a 6+. Changing the actual RP roll for the different units. Arguably you could say, well, that could get complicated, each unit with a different RP roll, but it's no complicated than the current RP rule set. RP against mortal wounds definitely should be a thing. Probably one of the best RPs was when you could bring back the dead from previous turns, although that was harder to keep track of. I'd be happy to be less powerful if we had better RP. Hello all. I think vehicles in general need an overhaul to differentiate themselves from characters and monsters. I started getting Necrons almost a year ago. Oh, welcome to Necrons. Yeah, quantum shielding. It's weird how some vehicles have it and some don't. But I know how GW changed things so much all the time. I'm expecting quite a major reboot for this, even though we had a major reboot like 8th and 9th, the edition you always dreamed of. Like, yeah, right. So I think 10th will, have quite a few changes. I don't really think about wish lists too much, because It doesn't really make any difference, does it really? It's just a case of playing with what you've got, making the most of it. I heard Games Workshop may remove the 2 wound rolls. Yeah, that I was talking about that just a second ago. And go to the route of 1-page rules with a roll to hit and then a roll for defense by the opponent. What do you think, Nick? So yeah, okay. So maybe I'm getting confused. I thought it was that you remove the toughness, so your gun would have a to hit and a 2 wound stat. But from what you're saying there, it's like literally no wound roll. So you just hit and then your opponent gets a save. Is that right? We'd like to see Immortals get a little something, maybe damage 2 on the weapons. I never got much value from them. Yeah, Immortals are more of a... they're just like 5 Immortals on an objective. If you take bigger units, I mean they can do stuff, but like you say, the damage now is just... everyone else just seems to be better at it than us. And obviously the smaller tables also don't help us because we are generally more of a shooty army, or at least we would like to be, although 9th seems to be definitely focused on close combat, and whilst we can do a bit of close combat, we're not that amazing at it, let's face it. Even Scorpec destroyers, they are good, and against the right armies they can do a lot of damage, but again against orcs I tend to play a lot. Orcs just they can just deal with anything I put on the table, it doesn't matter what I put on the table for my codex, orcs can deal with it. Hello Jar, he says WTF sneaking live stream. I did, it's a totally unplanned live stream. I had an opportunity to live stream in the house because I've got the place to myself, so I thought I would do some hobby and stream at the same time. The older Necron models look interesting with the clear green beam. I do love the green rods personally, yeah. We'd like to see... oh yes, I've done that one. Alexander says, a GW staff member talked to me and thinks that the 2 old clan should get a new model. He said it's a pity that especially the Nightbringer as a Death Guard doesn't like looks like a death Guard. It's so small. It is small, the model, although the physical footprint of the actual model is the same as the Void Dragon, so the actual Catan is the same. It's just that he's got all of those extra bits that make the miniature so big, which I'm sure they'll do the same with the new ones when they release them. Well, narratively speaking, that makes sense. Orcs were created to outmaneuver Necrons. They can out everything, Necrons. They can outmaneuver, they can out psychic, out shoot, out assault, out take control of the whole of the table. I think the thing with orcs, I don't think the orc codex is necessarily overpowered. Clearly not from the win rate on the tables. But I think what it is ultimately is just a really, really bad matchup for Necrons. So yeah, I've got my 3rd edition Necron army coming up, and I cannot wait to play it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I was debating whether to play a 9th edition mission or maybe to play one of the older missions. One of my favourite missions from the old days. It was actually 4th edition, I believe. It's called Rescue, where you had 6 counters on the table, and they were, each one had a number on them, and they were upside down so you couldn't see the number, and it was all placed randomly, and then you rolled a dice at the beginning of the game. Whatever number you got, that is the counter that you were looking for. And the idea was that you would stand on the counter and it would flip over, and then if you didn't find the number, that counter would just disappear. But if you found the number that was on that dice roll at the beginning of the game, that was the objective basically, and you were holding it. And at the end of the game, the person holding that objective won. I thought the missions were so much more fun in the old days than they are now. I mean, I appreciate that they're trying to make it, and I appreciate I play match play, so it's you know, there are other ways to play. But yeah, obviously GW are trying to even out the table as much as possible, you know, make it as balanced as possible, and they do that with all these like secondary objectives and stuff, and it works. It does work. There's many games that I've got really close to, or even one where I've lost most of my army. So from that point of view it works, but from another point of view, it's nothing better than just a fun mission where you just got something fun to do on the table and you're both there just to play that mission. You know, you're playing the game together, just trying to have some fun with your miniatures. Those are the best games. What's our favourite looking Warhammer model? What's our? I assume that is. It's now overpowered now. The buggy ballistic skill was nasty. Oh, it's not overpowered now. The buggy ballistic skill was nasty. Would you like to see the Catan models grow in size to go along with some of the larger sub-commanders of most other armies? Originally I would have said yes, and that's what I was expecting with the Void Dragon. And the Void Dragon, I think it's quite clever what they did. They made the Void Dragon a big model, but matched into the old models as well. So they've done a good job, but they can't go back on that now. I mean, they can't make a Nightbringer and make him bigger. It's got to be made the same size as a Void Dragon, so you know the actual Nightbringer himself is going to be the same size, and he's going to be beefed up on his base, you know, with other stuff like terrain and things, I'd imagine. I mean, I can't see it being anything else. Tempest War is a good game, lots of fun. I have played Tempest of War. It was fun, but I didn't have any chance of winning that game. I think mainly because of the cards. I had terrible, terrible cards. And I was up against Death Guard. I must admit, I thought I would have done more than what I've done. I suppose I am talking as well, potentially slowing me down, but even so, I'm not even finished these 2 guns. Quick look at the phone. Right, got 4 of these to do, and then we can glue them on. Eee. Mind you, these seem to have a lot of mould lines on. I'm looking forward to my event in August. I would imagine it's going to be 10th edition. I haven't really planned anything yet because we don't know, what's happening. So depending on how many people come, last year we played 1,000 points and we ran out of time, mainly because I didn't have any time restraints on it. So this year I'm definitely going to have time restraints on the game, on the games, but it's just a case of how many points depending on how many players. So I'm going to be able to get 5 tables going. So if I've got 10 people going, then obviously we can play bigger games. If I've got more than 10, I'll probably have to play smaller games. It's got a message from work. Yeah, so we'll have to see how that goes, but either way I'm going to have a lot of fun there. This is a bit awkward. I hate it when they put the piece that you cut off on the sprue in a really awkward place to clean up. Sounds like you would like to go the route of Winter's SEO. Would like, when it comes to play, Winter's wants expanded narrative rules. Yeah. I think, although we have the Crusade, when I look at Crusade, now, I'm probably totally wrong here, but when I look at Crusade, the rules actually look really complicated to me. I'd like to see just more narrative missions. So you have narrative missions, so like basically match play, but narrative missions, and then you have your match play missions. None of this match play and narrative play, and you just, there's one game, there's one way to play, but the missions is what makes the difference. It's so hard though, and GW have gone down so many different routes over the years, and they very often just recycle stuff, put a different twist on it. We used to have Night Fight. Night Fight was fun as well to play. We used to have different gravities on the planet. So you used to roll a dice and you get different gravity. So like some of them would be you get half your normal movement, and some of them you'd get like twice the normal movement, or some of them would just be, so you'd roll a dice, yeah, it was like a D3, so basically you had normal movement, half movement, or double movement, just to change the game up, just to make it fun, something different. Have you played against Dark Angels or Iron Hands yet? Not in any, no. Iron Hands I've never played against. Dark Angels I have, but a long time ago, like 7th edition. More options is what he wants, like missions of old, cities of fire, planetfall, etc. Yeah, the Void Dragon is bigger than the other Catan only because of the Canoptic Garden. Yeah, no, exactly. Needs replacements of the Finecast, totally. Games Workshop just bites the bullet and replace all of the cast. Not that they can't afford it. I agree. I agree. I mean, they obviously they have a plan to replace the fine cast stuff, but it's just being done over time. God, these bits are so fiddly. I've only done one half. So, if you'd watched one of my previous live shows, you'd know that I've got some miniatures that I was given to do a prize draw on the channel. The idea to be to raise money for charity. So I need to work out how to do that legally, because there are some rules about like competitions and stuff. So I found this website called, I just need to find it. It's 3 Canoptic Wraiths and a Triarch Stalker, painted by not Den of Imagination, painted by Siege Studios, and they're really nicely painted. So yeah, a website called Raffle, which seems to be like a legal place where you can run a competition. So I need to find some time to study it, basically, to work out how to do it. But yeah, what do you think would be the right value to put on a ticket to win this? Because obviously I want to raise as much money as I can. I'm probably going to raise it for Mind, I think, as a charity. So what do you think? Do you think I should go like mega cheap, so like I say £1 a ticket, and try to get as many entries as I can? Or do I put the price up slightly, so I probably get less entries but potentially make more money? So like £5 a ticket. I don't know which direction to go. So I have to get back to work. Okay, Jar, no worries. Thanks for popping in. I know you magnetise your monolith, but which is a better looking Death Ray or Flux Arks? I want to glue them in and just play as the other, but can't decide. Okay, I would personally say the Death Rays, I think. If I was in your situation, I think I'd go Death Rays. Yeah. But the Ghost Flux Arks do look pretty cool. But yeah, that's what I would do personally. Just because they look different from my old monoliths, I suppose that's the main reason. So yeah, let me know what you think about the raffle ticket situation. Time's going so quick. I can't believe it's April already. My video went up yesterday. The Necron Tactical Corner from my last live stream about the learning from your games. Boy, did that flop, that video. That has done so badly. Maybe it's just the topic. I don't think it's because it was from the live stream, because I've had other videos from the live stream do really well. I think it's just the topic. Right, 2 done, 2 to go. Let me drink my very cold coffee. Let's have a look. So we've got 14 viewers at the moment. Thank you everyone for staying. Appreciate that. Work again. So yeah, it's my day off today. I have Wednesdays and Fridays off normally, although I've got Saturday as well this week because it's my birthday. But yeah, I usually just have the weekdays off and I work the weekends. Got this vision for an army list. I haven't got the list yet, but I have a vision for it. The trouble is I don't think it's going to work, but I think it would be fun. So my vision is 3 monoliths. The 2 outside ones with the Void Dragon and the Nightbringer behind it, pushing forward. And then behind the middle one would be a command barge with double "My Will Be Done." And then just backed up with other stuff behind that. Trouble is the monoliths without fly, so difficult to maneuver. I mean, the idea is basically like a brick wall, just moving forward. It's like a brick wall of monoliths. So, okay, you want to get to my army? Get through these 3 monoliths first. I'm not sure I can make it work, but it's something that I'm thinking I really want to play. Early happy birthday, thank you very much. That's the thing with how I used to play in the old days. You know, that's how I used to play the old days. I'd come up with this crazy idea. My buddy used to do it as well. You know, we'd just come up with this crazy idea and just play it. You know, we used to play once a week, just turn up. Very often we had like one-sided games because of that, you know, because of the crazy list building, but it was just always fun. Whatever happened, win or lose, you went home having fun. There was we've had 1 or 2 games where we've literally annihilated each other, like on turn 1, and we just said, should we play again? And, you know, we just set up and played again, but not very often. Usually they're you know, close games, or as I said, one-sided but fun. I remember when the Transcendent Catan was a Forge World miniature, and it had Forge World rules. And it had the Apocalypse template. That's that massive flamer, effectively. It was 900 points. And I just finished building one of my Catan conversions as a Transcendent Catan. It was the robot one. And I remember saying to my buddy, "Look, do you mind if I play this? Because, you know, he's horrible, basically." He goes, "Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, no trouble." So I played this game with this Transcendent Catan. Like this one miniature took out most of his army. I always remember at the end of that he goes, "Yeah, never play that again." Which I never got a chance to, because actually that's pretty much when the new codex came out and the Transcendent Catan moved from Forge World into the new codex. So I never actually got to play that again. Played it once. I bought the Apocalypse template thing. Literally, it was like 10 quid this template, and I only played it once. That was it. Still have it though. I wonder if GW will ever bring back templates. I don't think they will. Okay, thank you, John. Thanks for popping in. Always tough to decide on pricing, especially for a charity auction. Best guess, set up an account you want to raise, then estimate how many entries you think you'll get and divide. That's a good point, yeah. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that. Yeah, so, well, how many do you think I might get? So, let's say an average video of mine, one that doesn't pop by YouTube, gets, say, 1,000 views to 1 to 2,000 views, let's say. So let's say 1,000 views. And then, because obviously I make a video about the raffle, and let's say 20%, which is quite high, decide they'd like to go for it. So that's 200 people. So if I went, say, £2 a ticket, that would be £400. Now, I might go in between actually, yeah, rather than £1, which is probably too cheap, or £5, which might stretch people. I might go £3 a ticket, maybe. And then if people want to buy 2 tickets, it will be obviously £6. 3 tickets, £9. So obviously there's postage to take into account, because postage is not cheap. That box that I sent to America, you know, my 25k subscriber giveaway box, that was about £75 to post it to America. So I'll have to take the postage, I think, out of whatever I raise for the raffle, and then the rest will go to charity. Batch painting some wraiths. What would you like to see change for Necrons in 10th? Depending on the rule set, it's got to be RP, make RP better, just make Necrons just more survivable, and then for our weapons to not be so random. Our secondaries at the moment, we've got some reasonable ones. That Purge the Vermin is just so bad. I'm hoping that we get a tweak to that in the new data slate, which is coming. That's coming in April, isn't it? The data slate. Nearly done this now. Don't forget to consider the value that you're giving away. But the fiver sounds right. Yeah, the value, I said it's Tripe Stalker, and should I get it so you can have a look? I'll go and get it. Let me just make sure I've finished this. Yeah, they're ready for gluing. Right, bear with me a second. Look, nearly knocked all the Ghost Ark bits over. So yeah, I've got a certificate of authenticity from Seed Studios, and then we've got a unit of 3 wraiths, like really nicely painted, and then we've got a Triarch Stalker with the heat ray, again really nicely painted. That's what I've got to give away. So what wraiths are, I don't actually know. I've never bought a unit of these. I think they're like £30-ish, aren't they? About 30, £35. Probably similar to this. What? I'd have to look it up, but probably about £70 for the actual models. But obviously then someone's built them, and of course they've been painted as well. So it's a good amount of value, like you say. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe £5 could be a good one. Right, let's get these glued. Nick, have you ever built Illuminor Xeris? I have my Illuminor built and painted. Would you like a plastic construct? Plastic construct would be good. The issue which I would have, which I talked about earlier in the stream, is literally space. I have no space left. These 2 Ghost Arks, I already have a box for them to go in, because I knew that I would be building them at some point. Anything beyond that, it's going to be really tough. Right, here we go then. So, what do we need to do? So we've got one side bit. Oh yeah, that glues in there. And then what about these bits? Oh yeah, they go in there. Can I paint? I can paint okay. So I am going to glue them. Right. That's well worth a £5. Great paint job. Okay, so sounds like a £5 is going to be a good option then. One. Oh, that scraping makes it all worthwhile when you can start gluing. And then these 2 are going to be a bit quicker and do both of them. One. Cool. Make sure it looks like it's supposed to look. Yep. Right, that's that one then. Now the other one. I'll get to your comments in a second. I'm just going to glue these bits on. And this side. feels so good to do hobby. Very therapeutic, relaxing, and you get something at the end of it. Right, that's those done. Hey Nick, I'm currently ripping apart a Necron army I bought to customise them into tropical jungle crons. Just waiting to get some green stuff to start modelling. I have a monolith in bits. That sounds so cool. But is a monolith worth having, or am I better to convert to Tesseract thingy? It's hard to say with 10th edition coming up, but I would say yes, because it's just an icon miniature. Every Necron army should have a monolith available to it. Jungle Cron sounds awesome, I agree. Cheers, going overgrown tropical vines, flowers, etc. Looking like a nice day in Pompeii. Yeah, it is actually. It's not too bad. It's been raining, but it's bright and not too cold, so that's all right. Okay, guns done. As I said, I'm not going to do those other bits because the way I magnetise them, I don't need those. So that gives me some bits in my bits box. Now here we go. We recommend painting this assembly before the next stage. I would recommend that too, 100%. Okay, aha, the spines are next. The spines are next. So we've got 6 of those and 6 of those. Right. We recommend painting this assembly before the next stage. I bet you do. Okay. So we're going to build some of these then. Going with pink for energy orbs, turquoise stones and other precious stones. It's -8 and overcast here in Ottawa, Canada. -8, it's about 10 degrees at the moment here. Mind you, I'm sitting right next to the radiator, but it's not on, so I'm kit bashing 10 Krieg to fill out my roster for my veteran guardsman kill team this weekend. You shall not falter for the glory of the Imperium. Marble effects on them. Marble stones are always cool. Okay, so I'm going to cut these out and I'm going to place them in 2 piles because there's 2 different numbers. So we have 25 and 26. Right. 25. I used to be able to do this all without a magnifying glass. Yeah. Not now. $25. I think I'm going to have to order some more magnets because I don't think I've got enough. I think this is going to be a lot of scraping. 26. I was thinking of actually doing a live stream special for the raffle thing as well. I thought that might help try and generate some ticket sales. What was that? 26. To be fair, these look different anyway, so don't think it matters if I have them in a pile. I've always wanted to do one of those like mega live streams, like a 24-hour live stream. I'm not sure I can get away with it with my fiance here, but yeah, I think that would be fun. Whether I could try and think of as many things to talk about in that amount of time. I've been building a Gilliman figure and now working on the what? So Dragon's Den and The Apprentice final tomorrow night. Thursday nights are my good Teddy night. I enjoy both of those. Always enjoy Dragon's Den and The Apprentice. This is always fun. Oop. The final tonight, this week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And snooker is on this week, but it's only being televised on Eurosport paid for channel thing, which I don't have, so I can't watch the snooker. It's a bit of a shame because it's supposed to be the Turkish Masters, but that was cancelled, so then this new thing they've got. But yeah, you've got to pay for it to watch it. I must remember that I've got a sprue which fell behind the desk. Got to pick that up. Otherwise at some stage I'm going to be panicking that I've lost a part. So who else do you watch live? What other live streams do you watch? 40k stuff. Any other channels that you watch live? Idic, I think a live stream for the raffle is a great idea. Thank you, yeah. Yeah, I think that would be good. And obviously the advantage of doing a 24-hour one is you can hit like everyone in all the countries, you know, so you'll be live when everyone around the world is going to be on YouTube as well. I might have to limit it to a 12-hour one, but I don't know if I can get away with a 24-hour one. So yeah, other live streams that I watch, I would watch the Frost and Fists one if it wasn't when I was asleep, because those guys are awesome. I watch the Hobby Corner sometimes when he's on. 6 Plus Steve, I tend to try and catch his live streams. I've been watching some of the Winters ones. And who else? Black Toad Studio. Sometimes I pop into their streams. I think that's the thing with streams, isn't it? It's like usually just if you're not busy and they're live, then you can like pop onto it. Underdog Painting, pop onto some of his sometimes. I watch Winters and Liam Dempsey. Yep, Liam, I am subscribed to him. I don't watch his live streams though, I must admit. They never seem to be live at the same time I'm on. Balrek. Oh yes, yeah, I have watched some of his stuff. He does I assume he's going to do it because he usually does Adapticon live stream. I'd imagine he'll be up at 3 o'clock in the morning with that one. I will be asleep, I have to say, so keep knocking the microphone, hopefully it's not making any noises too much for you. Oh, this is going to be a lot of filing down. Like never-ending spines. Blood Angels Commander is a great channel. I've not heard of them actually. I'll have to look that up. Is that just the Blood Angels channel, or do they do other stuff on there as well? Oh, more! Need to work out what to have for dinner tonight. My fiance usually does the cooking. I mean, I can cook, but she usually has it all organised because she works from home most of the time. So yeah, I need to work out what to have tonight. We are going shopping, so pick something out. I made a chilli last week. It lasted like 3 days. It was a massive chilli. Having other YouTubers promote your raffle on a live stream. That'd be cool, yeah. Blood Angels primarily, but all are welcome. It's one guy. Okay, cool. And we'll have to look him up. Obviously, I used to play against Blood Angels all the time because that was my buddy's main army. He had Blood Angels and Orcs. So I've played against them many times, but not like the modern Blood Angels, like Sangri Guard and stuff. He didn't have any of those. But yeah, we've had some battles over the years. I nearly got a McDonald's breakfast on the way home after dropping after dropping my daughter after school. Gave her real name away there. I thought, yeah, McDonald's breakfast, and then right at the last minute I thought, no, Nick, think of your stomach. I am at the age where I do have to watch what I eat a bit. Of course, we've got Ramadan coming up, haven't we? So, going to be doing that again this year. So I'm going to be fasting on my birthday. Going to be fasting at Stocktake. was one massive pile of spines. The spines, aren't they, I suppose. Fiance, it's been a while since I was able to catch a stream. Still, congratulations. Thank you, yes, yeah. Got engaged last Christmas, not this Christmas, just gone, last Christmas. So the plan is to get married next year. That's the plan. It is great that there is such an awesome community with 40k. I totally agree. Totally. Right. I've just got to scrape these mould lines off of all of those. That's it. That won't take long, will it? Oh, it's going to take forever. As part of the 24-hour stream, have your fiance play a game of 40k. Yeah, there's no chance she could play a game of 40k, but she might come on the stream for like a Q&A. She has mentioned that previously, so potentially could do a Q&A. That'd be cool. That would be cool. Right, I'm going to move on to water because the coffee is so cold now. It's like ice. Nearly spilled it. If you haven't worked out, I'm pretty accident prone. Let's work again. No rest for the wicked. I am not looking forward to scraping all the mould lines off of these. You'll be done in 5 minutes. With the space between you and your work table, I don't think you're too bad off. At my age, I can't get that close. Waiting to hear back from something from work. Right. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of live streams. Right. And not only is all those things that I clipped off to do, but all around it is a mould line. This is going to take forever. Bonjour from France. Hello France. We have Kenshiro from My Daughter and Me. Love your channel. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Are you magnetising that Ghost Ark? I am magnetising one. The other one is going to be... I don't need to magnetise it, but I'm going to magnetise it into a simpler, easy variant of magnetisation to make a new tutorial on it. Right, here we go. I think the longest I've live streamed before is about 3 hours. I live streamed when I was building my Doomstalker at my old house. So when did I start? 10, yeah? So that's 2.5 hours already. How long do you go for on a live stream? I've got a video up today, 2:30. It's just a short. At first I wanted to magnetise mine. After building them I was just fed up. I made 2 Doomsday Ghost Arks, and if need more we'll just play one as the other. What's your favourite Necron model of all time? Which do you prefer, tournaments or narrative games? Okay, so yes, I mean one reason why it's taken me so long, literally 10 years, to do more Ghost Arks is because it is a big mammoth model to do, especially if you're magnetising it. It does take a lot of effort, and that's why I wanted to make this new tutorial on a simpler way to do it. So rather than fully magnetising it, it will be fully magnetised, but not like the original model supposed to be. It will be like a different variant, basically just magnetising the main weapon and the warriors inside. My favourite model of all time is incredibly difficult to pinpoint out of the Necron army, because we've got some classics. We definitely have some classics. So difficult to say. I think I will have to say don't think I can actually. I think it's an impossible task. It's like saying what's your favourite Prince song? You know, there's just so many great ones. It's impossible to say. Maybe the Monolith, the original Monolith, just because it's such a classic model. The only tank at the time when it was out that we had. So I'm going to say the Monolith. Do I prefer tournaments or do I prefer narrative play? As in match play, yeah, you mean? I mean, I have been to a few tournaments before. I think I've been to about 5 in total, and I enjoy them. My main issue is I work the weekends, so tournaments which usually are at the weekends are quite hard to go to. I do enjoy like a match play competitive game, especially if I've got an army which can be competitive. But yeah, narrative games are fun too. I don't really mind the type of game. As long as I can play a game and win or lose, I can say, yeah, that was a great game, I had fun. That's the key thing for me. So many mould lines. What do you think of Age of Sigmar? I think they have the most awesome models out. The models are fantastic. The game, I've played the Age of Sigmar once. That was when we were at 7th edition 40k, just about to move to 8th edition. I played Ace Face and he brought his Khorne and Skaven armies to my house and we had a game. I played Khorne, and it was basically like to sample what 8th edition might be like. So yeah, it's fun. Great models. I have no room or time for another system, so yeah, I'm sticking with 40k. The same when this old age Middle Earth thing comes out, whatever it's going to be called. Basically the reboot of fantasy. Whilst I'd love to do space skeletons, no, the skeleton army, sorry, what's it called? Tomb Kings, that's the one. I'd love to do Tomb Kings, but I'm not going to do it because I just don't have the space for more miniatures and I don't have the time to play them. And you do have to limit yourself I mean, I follow a lot of obviously channels that are on the YouTube, and they've that flitting from one thing to the other, and there's so many options and choices to play. It's like a minefield, so I'm quite strict to myself. I find it's the best way. That film, was it Everything Anywhere Everywhere, whatever it's called, with Michelle Yeoh in, got nominated. Well, actually didn't get nominated, but won loads of awards. I tried watching that film. I must admit I haven't watched all of it. I've watched, I think, like maybe 40 minutes ish. I don't particularly like it that much, I must admit. I thought it was a bit weird. I started collecting the new Stormbringer magazine. Stormbringer. Oh, that's the new Age of Sigmar one, is it? Oh, work is like never ending. That's the perils of being the manager, I suppose. I'm halfway the first one. I'm probably just over halfway. I should have timed how long this one took. What time did I start, guys? I think I said 8:30. 8 minutes, surely not. Just to do one. That's the thing with this is on a WhatsApp. We've got a WhatsApp group at work. Whilst it's great for, you know, it is good. It's not like the old days, is it? You had a day off, and unless someone phoned you, that's it. They can't contact you. Now it's like so easy for anyone to just pester you, basically. Come on, nearly finished. I did buy one of those mould line removers a long time ago. I've hardly used it. I just prefer the knife, probably because I'm used to it. I find the mould line removers, just there's certain things that it just can't do. So I had to switch from a knife to the remover, and I might as well just kept the knife in my hand and just carried on. I was wasting more time just switching from one to the other. Right. One. One done. It's going to take forever. So it's basically 10 minutes a spine. There's a lot there. Right. Oh, I need a break. I'm off to work now. Best of luck. I'll catch the vid. Thank you, Justin. Yeah, cheers for popping in. Right, what time are we at now? 20 to 1. Didn't think about lunch, did I? Let's do another couple. That will take us to 1 o'clock. That will be 3 hours stream. How's that sound? 3 hours? What do you think of the camera setup for this? Does it work? Does it work quite well? Go away! Right, now I may get faster at this now I've done one, because I know what I'm doing, maybe. And this is a different one actually, there's less to do on this one, because you haven't got those spines at the bottom. So this one should be a bit quicker. Setup is good, excellent. I got promoted at work 6 months ago. My phone has almost never stopped since. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's in the old days they just have to get on with it, the staff, you know. Maybe unless it's like an emergency, then yeah, phone up. But now it's like every little thing. It's like, oh, I'll just ask, you know, just put it in the group chat. And you can't not look in case it is an emergency. So the first Thursday of the month is coming around very quickly, so it'll be another Necrons and More live show. Need to have a think about what I'm going to talk about in that one, in terms of the tactical corner. Do have a few video ideas still in the pipeline that I want to do. So I might try to incorporate one of those into the tactical corner. It's quite nice having that structured stream. It keeps you on track. But then also this is quite nice as well, where you just literally just talk about anything. If it helps somebody get some hobby done, and that's the main thing. But it's also just a good chance just to get to know me a bit more, hopefully, and potentially talk about other armies that aren't Necrons as well. Richard said to me, oh, the Tyranids are going to be in the box set for 10th edition, right? So last time, of course, we went halves. So we bought a Domitus each. He had the Space Marines for his Space Wolves, and I had 2 halves of the Necron set. So, and it is such good value for money, those starter sets. It makes almost sense to do that again, which means I'll have two halves of the Tyranid sets, which means I'm going to have loads of models that I don't have space for, but I'll probably do it anyway. I know I have a lot of older subscribers that subscribed to the channel before I changed it to like a more Necron focused channel. I mean, I always had Necron videos on the channel. You know, I had before I even started like focusing on Necrons, I had 500 Necron videos. So I've always done Necrons, of course. But yeah, a lot of them might have subscribed because of the Eldar content or the Tyranid content. Just get a bigger house. Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? And in the new house, get the old blinds back. I went past that old house the other day, and they've changed the blinds. Those wooden ones aren't there anymore. They've got these like modern white ones. Watch some of those videos though with the sound so echoey in that room. There's nothing I could do about it. Sometimes I'd hang like towels around the walls and stuff. But bar getting soundproofing in there, it's just so echoey. This place is quite good because it's got two massive curtains. So when I close those, like it absorbs all the sound. So it's definitely not as echoey. It's a bit more echoey here because I've got a wall there and a wall there. But when I do the main like videos over there, up over there, it's much better. I envisaged an Elysian-like Necron list of Doom Scythes and Night Scythes bombing the table and dropping waves of troops onto the battlefield, like in the second Reddick movie. It would be cool, wouldn't it? Obviously now we can only have two, can't we? Two flyers. Well, in match play, anyway. Yeah, the Flying Circus. Remember that? That was always a thing. I think that was 5th edition, wasn't it? I never got to play that. I didn't even get to play the 3 Doom Scythe stratagem thing because I only had 2 Doom Scythes. Got them now, got the models now, but now that stratagem and scenario is all gone. We have Bazza. Hello Bazza, we were talking about you earlier. How you doing? I was just saying how I sometimes join your live streams. So faction hop or faction focus, reasons why or why not, and go. Yeah, so faction hop, my buddy when I first started playing used to do that. He was fantastic at converting miniatures. He could never paint an army, and he used to hop from one to the other. So he'd basically build an army, play it for like 6 months, and then try and build another one. The advantage of that, I suppose, from his point of view, like keeps things fresh, and he can try stuff out. And he wasn't one of these people who was afraid to sell his army, you know. And I think that's the thing. if you're going to hop, I think you need to be willing just to not be a collector so much. I think that's my trouble. I'm a collector, so that's why I never want to sell anything. And faction focus, of course. I mean, in most cases, I think people just love their army because it's their army. So regardless of the rules, you'll play it. Obviously, it has the disadvantage of having to paint the same thing all the time, so same colour scheme all the time. Whereas if you have different armies, you've got different paint schemes to paint. Two done. Getting there. We have Gothhead. Hello Gothhead, how you doing? Nice to see you here. I am currently scraping all the mould lines off of these. It's going to take forever. It's going to take forever. Especially these ones with these spines, because there's loads of mould lines on them. Let's do the spine bit first and get it out of the way. I enjoyed painting my Locust Destroyers, and of course that Locust Lord, painted that now as well. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm going to paint these assembled mostly, apart from a couple of bits and pieces where I can't get the paintbrush in. Because I am only going to be dry brushing them, so there's going to be no edge highlighting. So if you're edge highlighting, you're probably going to want to paint more than I do before assembling. But for me, with just a dry brush, I can easily just assemble most of it. And obviously where I'm magnetising it, a lot of it isn't going to actually be assembled, so like all the warriors aren't going to be inside the vehicle anyway. I'm painting Eldar Rangers as we speak. I still need to paint my Rangers. I have them, but I never painted them. I've got a set of Eldar Rangers, the really old metal ones, which I bought painted, so I used those. But I do have a set of the newer metal ones. I don't know if Rangers are plastic now. Have they bought plastic Rangers out? I don't think they have. Oh, things have changed so much, haven't they? The game's changed so much. The model ranges, it's all very different. I feel very old with some of my armies that I've got, you know, with such old models. Probably a lot of people that have watched the videos don't even know what they are. So, I've never seen those before. Yeah, they are plastic. Okay, interesting. I bought 3 of the Forge World pylons to use with a special formation to create the Dark Vow, but didn't get them built before the rule was removed. Ouch. Yeah, that's a nightmare, isn't it? That is a nightmare. I've got 1 of those pylons, not 3. I bought it at Games Day, didn't really need it, it's just I went to Games Day and there was 1 there and I thought I would buy it because I treated myself. I've only ever been to that one games day. I think it was 2002, I think. 2001, 2002, around that time. I recently built a magnetised canoptic cloak out of a Revell Battlestar Galactica Cyclone's hand, and some other bits. That's cool. I had a message from somebody the other day talking about where can I get some like Necron hands from, because we're quite limited when we're doing our kit bashing. But that sounds interesting. Battlestar Galactica Cyclones. I've watched the original Battlestar Galactica when I was young. Excuse me. I've never watched the new one. I used to have the telly on when I hobbied in my old house, but my telly is like over there now, so I can't really like I can have the telly on and listen to it, but sometimes it's nice just to like watch a bit now and again, you know. Sometimes I'll have my computer on watching YouTube and stuff. But this is quite nice because it's like I've got company, even though I'm not in the same room. It's like you are in the same room. And the canoptic is made from a fantasy wraith, those ghosts, as well as Necron parts. I'm going to take some pictures on my Instagram and tag you, Nick, if you like. Yes, please. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I love the old one, but was not a fan of the new version of the Galactica. Right, as I said, I've not seen it. Classic show though, isn't it? So I used to watch Blake 7 when I was a kid with my dad. Blake 7 with Aurak, the computer. That's before a computer was a computer. Just a box with wires in it. Doctor Who was Tom Baker with K9. Used to watch that. I must get my science fiction from my dad, thinking about it, because all the shows I used to watch with him were all science fiction. He used to absolutely love Kung Fu with David Carradine. He used to watch that, and when that was on, you could not speak. He loved that programme. So yeah, he must have liked his science fiction and martial arts. The new version was very good, the first few seasons, then it got weird. A lot of things do that, don't they? It's almost like they've run out of ideas. I used to watch The Flash, and the first like 3 seasons of that was awesome, and then you could tell they just ran out of ideas and just got worse. Come on. Keep going, Nick, keep going. My concentration levels have definitely gone down since I've got older. Especially when painting. This stuff is not so bad because it's quite basic, isn't it? When I'm painting, I used to be able to paint for 6 hours solid when I was younger. Now I do like an hour or so, and then I have to have a little break and come back, like like a 15-minute break. I think also not just my concentration levels, but like my body as well. It's like, I think, oh, my neck hurts or whatever. Just getting old, basically. Getting old. Yep, see you later. I watched the Kung Fu Legend Continues when I was a kid. Yeah, that's right. That's where his son's in it, right? I never watched the original that much. Yeah, that's right. They did like a new series, didn't they? And it was David Carradine's son. I think it was actually his son, wasn't it, that played the part, if I remember rightly. But they were in the city rather than like, it wasn't like a... Basically, the original was like a western, wasn't it? But I think that new one was in the city. Right, another one done. Now obviously these will eventually be glued like this. There. Not going to glue them yet. I'm going to do all of the scraping and the mould lines, I think, first before I glue anything. Right, there you go. So that's 3 hours. I think I will stop there. I'm going to need a cup of coffee and something to eat. I really appreciate everyone stopping by. Been really nice talking to you all. And I'll see you in the next one.